Hi everyone, welcome back to another webinar hosted by ITR Technologies. I would like to thank everyone for joining and apologies for yesterday's webinar being moved through to today. I know unfortunately there was some technical difficulties on our side and we had to unfortunately move it. But that's not holding us back and we will then take it on by full storm today. Last week we had the discussion about change management and problem management. And this week we will cover the asset management and CMDB. So first things first is what does asset management mean and how does it benefit your company? So from your side as an IT technician, you will be able to track your IT assets and know exactly where they are located or what their IP addresses are, what the processes are that's inside of them, if they have any, what the service tag is, and the MAC addresses. This will just help you a lot more when it comes to reporting specifically on the specific asset that you have. So it's very easy to then track it to see if it is in use, if it's been sent through for repairs, or if it is based in a different location on different sites, and so on and so forth. So how does this work? So it's pretty simple. If we go through to the admin tab and we go to the asset management tab, you will see that there's an option for product type, product, vendor, workstation additional fields, asset additional fields, asset state, configuration, item types, and then relationship types. So the relationship types will play a massive role when we get to the CMDB. Okay, so I'm going to go to the product type just to show you guys exactly what the product type is and where this plays a role. So I'm going to jump between my two relevant tabs. So as you can see, we've got the product types added here, and we will add a new one. So let's quickly add one as testing devices. Perfect. So we will select what it is. It's an asset, and if it's IT or non-IT. So where this plays a big role is that you can go and add any type of asset through to the asset tab. You can actually go and manage your vehicles if you want to. If you have any company vehicles, you can go and add vehicles based on their colors and so on through to the asset tab as well. So for this purpose, we're going to make it as an IT asset because this will take a specific tick on our license for assets. If I save this, it will already successfully save. And once I move through to the assets tab itself, over here by the IT assets, we will see that testing devices is the new asset that has been added, a specific product type. So what will play a big role about the products is that you will see here that it says unknown server and unknown workstation. Automatically it dropped it inside the workstation as desktop. So if I go to the desktop, it will show that there is a device listed underneath it. But that's not what we want. It's a virtual machine. We need to make sure that it gets moved through to the relevant area. So let's quickly have a look under the servers. This is currently the virtual machine where the product is installed on, the ServiceDesk Plus product. So we want to go and say, this is virtual machine, SDP installation. And we want to drop it under the product type as, let's put it under the testing devices, just for testing purposes for this specific one. If there's any depreciation that you want to add to that specifically, but that's not going to be the case at the moment. We will save it, and it will now automatically update when we go to the testing devices tab. Apologies, just want to refresh that. That's very strange. So the reason that would not happen then is because of the import already has been done, and because of the product name is unknown workstation, it will then give that issue for us. But that's not an issue. We can always just go to the relevant device, and we can just action and modify the state or move it to where it needs to go to. Okay, so we have now discussed the products and the product type and how to configure them to go through to the relevant where which groups they need to go through to. So if we go into this device, so this is now where we will have our asset state to show exactly what of the device is going on. So we can see here the last logged on user, we can see the service tag, we can see the virtual memory, operating system, IP address, the total memory, and if I'm not mistaken, the service tag is right there. Yes. So it will pick up the serial number if it's for instance a Dell and so on. So any information that you require to be pulled through from the device will be able to be pulled through via SNMP or WMI. So clearly where that will come from is if there's a MIP available for the device, you'll be able to pull the information through to your help desk. Okay, so this is basically the CI information, just showing us everything that we need. If we jump over to the hardware tab, this is where it will show us the computer system, the operating system. You will see the processor, the memory, installed memory modules, network adapters, the hard disk, the logical drives, physical drives, and any printers that are installed on that specific machine as well. If there's monitors connected as well, it will pick up the monitor, keyboard, mouse, and if there's any multimedia, sound cards, and so on that needs to go through, it will pick that up. Sure. So that is a lot of information that you can actually just see from the hardware tab itself. If we jump to the software tab will allow you as an administrator to see exactly license keys, product keys, and so on for your specific devices. You'll be able to see the software that's installed on the device, and you can actually go and from here have a look at it, see what's going on. Remote the device if the device is not available, shouldn't have that software, and uninstall that software from the device itself. If we go to the systems, you'll see which users have access through to that specific device. So as you can see that there are 2 account names that are listed and then one that's under our domain itself. So these are the accounts that have been logged into the specific device before. We will cover the relationship tab on the CMDB part of the product itself. But just a quick rundown, if I click on the relationship, it will show us now here that its host is test, it's managed by administrator, and it runs the operating system. So from here on, you can go and then define what needs to happen. So it will show you a loophole if there's any loopholes. And if you want to configure more or add more information to it, you can just click on the add relationship, and it will be you'll be able to add a relationship to it. So we can say that it's part of 3 different groups. So now the graph and the relationship will look much different. So that will be basically now on the CMDB technician side, but we'll get to that just now. Then we have the history. So from the history itself is where you can actually see what happened with this specific device. So last time it scanned, if there's any failure to the scans and so on, if there's any asset, if it was a change ownership, if it has moved from in state or in store through to another area. So let's say here that it is in use. We save that. So once we save that specific device, we will now see that in the history, it will say when it moved from where to where. So you can just have a bit of information of where the devices are and when it was sent through for repairs and so on. Then you have your remote session history, where you can see if there was any recordings and so on done. Great. Then we have our requests. So all assets or all users that have been imported from the Active Directory, once you know if there was any, if that user was reporting a specific issue with their device and so on, from the help desk itself, it will pick up their device from that user and it will associate it to the ticket as well. So that will give you assistance to do problem management, your change management, and your project management based on the device itself. So if a user has constant issues that they are trying to, or they're having issues with the RAM or slowness, connectivity issues, you'll be able to track it based on the requests that are through here. So if we go to all problems or we go to all requests, it should now populate some info. Oh, no, never mind. We did not select the administrator, we always selected the guest. So if we go to the guest account, it will basically show all the tickets that's on that specific user's account, or the assets that's associated to that user. Great. Then we have the contracts. So as we discussed, if I'm not mistaken, we have discussed the contracts. If not, we will get to it. But the contracts can be associated through to your relevant assets. So where that will play a big role is in your routers itself. So, printers itself. And if you're going to outsource your routers as well. So with the printers itself, as most companies have a contract with a big printing company, like for instance, Konica Minolta, Xerox, and so on. And if you have any contracts with them, you can actually go and create a contract and associate it to the asset itself. So the contract will then state how much it's going to cost, so that you make sure that renewal will be done within the right time and so on. And that will also play then a big role when it comes to the financials. So with the financials itself, I want to go and say, we purchased this machine 1st of November, purchase cost, and we say it was $1,500. Right. So from here, it will show and calculate everything that there is. If there's any operational costs, current book values, and so on. We can then go and use the purchase cost and configure a depreciation for that specific asset that you have. So we will configure it for this asset, and we'll make it a straight line. Let's make it 24 months. Salvage value needs to be $100. Okay. Now we will see that it will start calculating for which year the product's going to still be valuable on the book value. It's just a quick and easy way to know how much your assets will still be valuable for. For instance, if there is any damage, costs, and so on to a specific device and so on, you can actually take it from there and say, okay, so you got a 15,000 Rand laptop, but you only had it for 2 months and then it broke, or you cracked the screen and so on. So you need to pay in the difference of what's left of the remaining months of that device. So you can then go and take this in accord for that specifically. Great. So now we will move over to the non-IT assets. So your non-IT assets could be, for instance, tables, chairs, projectors, scanners, anything that does not have an IP address or that's not listed on your network. That will be a non-IT asset. How can you pull through your non-IT assets? Well, it's pretty simple. So to pull through your non-IT assets, again, you create a product type, specify it as a non-IT asset, and you will then import your CSV file to actually push through information to this specific non-IT asset through the imported. You will also have the functionality to add it through an asset form, or to do barcode scanning that will enable the device, the product to pull through with a barcode scanner to pull through the assets to your help desk itself. So just a quick example of the barcode scanning itself. You get 3 different ones. So you can print your own barcodes, or you can do barcode generation. So how it works is you get a vendor barcode that is basically using a barcode scanner and just sticking it or adding it as it goes along. A manual procedure that you have to do, unfortunately. Then you add new assets by generating your own barcode. So that is a way of generating barcodes, add it to your new assets, and you print the new barcodes out and stick it to the relevant assets. And then you have barcode generation for existing assets, where you can actually update assets with the barcode information and push it through to your help desk itself. With the prompt barcodes tab, you can actually go and specify your barcodes. You can put in a label property if there's any, sequential, or you can have unprinted barcodes if you have saved any extra barcodes. We will jump now back to the software. So on the software itself, you will see that it will show us all software. So with this specifically, you can go and add new software or a suite of software where you can put in a costing and actually work out not just the costing, but with that, you can see how much has been used of your specific license value. So let's say, for instance, I purchased Microsoft Windows Server 2012, and I purchased it for 10 servers. Currently, I have it installed on 12. With this specifically, it will let you know that you are over licensed and you need to purchase more additional licenses for the other machines. From there, you can go out and actually clear out your asset state and remove servers that are not using that license. So that is one way to take this on from your side. So as you can see, there are software summaries just to show all the software that has been installed on all the relevant devices. If there's any license agreements that you have, your software licenses, just to determine, as we mentioned, about the available license keys and how long it's going to expire, when you purchased it, how many it's been allocated to, and how many is available on your side. And then any service packs, you can actually then go and delete from here, or you can push it through, see who has installed the specific service pack. So that is it on the asset tab itself, but that's not the end of the webinar. We will now jump to the CMDB part. So on the CMDB part is where you will configure a basic map for you to make sure that your environment runs the way it should. So a quick example of how how you can use the relationship for. So let's say, for instance, your VIP users are sitting on one floor, on the second floor, and there's a router connected to all of them. So one way to make sure that all of them are up and running, you will go and select a router, and you can then add all of those users through to that router itself, so that you know that once that router goes down, which users will be affected. If there's a network or if there's a specific group, which devices, and so on. You can actually go and map that out for you. So as you can see over here, we currently have it that administrator is a part of these relevant groups, support groups. It manages the business service of test, but test is hosted on this specific server. So now it makes a bit more sense, and we will know then that administrator is managing that server. We can go and add a relationship then from there, or create more relationships, and say that, let's say, for instance, used by people, guest, and header as well. So if we add them through to the relationship as well, we will now see that it's used by administrator, but the hosting is managed by administrators. So there is a circle that will happen, that administrator will be managing that server as well. And you will see all the users that are relevant to the specific CMDB or relationship right now will be located over here. Great. So that was a pretty quick session. We do have some time for questions. If you have any questions from your side, you're more than welcome to quickly share them with me right now, and I'll quickly have a look at them. Great. So that will be ending our webinar today for the asset management and CMDB. I would like to thank everyone for joining this specific webinar, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day further. Thank you very much.